make your own decisions, take responsibility, not a financial advisor. I think I nailed the big ones. We're going to talk about the competitions because the competitions or the contests, let's keep the wording right. The contests are what will determine whether or not you get access to being able to use and trade using other people's funds. And I think that this part has been a little confusing for people. Number one, some people are saying, well, it sounds too good to be true. So I want to dispel those thoughts and those beliefs because it's not magic. It's actually kind of brilliant from their perspective. They're at zero risk. So you think, oh, they're just going to hand over $100,000 account or a $200,000 account to anybody? No, this is not going to be simple, and this is not going to be easy for you to be able to pass a contest. But it is possible. It is achievable. It is something that everybody can do. This is not something that's just, oh, I do it because I'm me and it has nothing to do with it. I have no special skills that give me any more of an advantage over anybody else other than I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to put in the time. I always believe that you get recognized in public for the work that you do in private. When I'm in private, I'm practicing. I'm watching the live sessions. I'm watching the recordings. I'm practicing on the scanners. I'm taking trades. I'm jotting down the lot sizes to make sure that I understand how much risk I've put out. I've used different trading strategies. I'm doing all these things. Why? Because I want to make sure that when I get to the point where I'm ready to go into a competition, which I feel like I am, that I can now pass and succeed that I keep saying competition, the contest. I want to pass and succeed that contest so that I now have a fully funded account and I'm trading using other people's money. So I've now eliminated all of my risk, but I'm going to show you how they're actually eliminating their risk. So this isn't some too good to be true, get rich quick fantasy. They have hedged their bets. They are not taking any risk by allowing us to trade off of their funds. We also, and this is what makes it so brilliant, we are not taking risk because we are putting up a very small amount of money to participate in the contest. So we have low risk. They have low risk or no risk, really. We have a little bit of risk. They have really no risk. But there's upside on both sides. That's a good deal, right? So think about some of the things that we've participated, some of us. I have some people from my group, and then there's like a mix of people here. So maybe not everybody understands this part, but, we've participated in some things where we've given our money over to a third party entity. And we did that because we were told or we were promised that they were going to do something to make us money. They were going to either trade or it was some sort of an investment, right? They were going to do something and then they were going to pay us back our profits. And then ultimately, if we want, we could take our principal back. That was the idea. And some of those things have worked. Some of those things have not worked. In this case, we're not actually being asked to give anybody over any money. All we're doing is we're learning to manage tools, and we're learning some skills that will ultimately put us in a position where we can then apply, put our own funds in on a small deposit to get into a contest and have our accounts judged to make sure that we know how to manage an account properly. And if we win that contest, so we're not going up against other people, right? We're going up against ourselves or the system. But if we win that contest, then we have access to a trading account that's fully funded, at which time we can then use that account to make trades. And we get to keep either 80 or 90% of the profits that come from that account. But this is not too good to be true. This is going to be more difficult than it sounds. And again, I'm not saying this to intimidate anybody, but I want you to take it serious enough to where you realize they're not going to just hand over a $200,000 trading account to a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, and they're going to drive these accounts into a cliff and lose a bunch of money. No one's stupid enough to do that, right? Like let's take the mystery out of this. And that's what I want to do for the next 15, 20 minutes before the traders come on, is I want to take the mystery out of the contests. Then we'll do some live trading with the traders. And then at the end of that, for the last half hour of the call, we're going to focus in on the use of the pulse scanner specifically and how you could use that. And at this point, I'm barely using anything else other than the pulse scanner, because the pulse scanner gives me the ability to manage my own schedule. I can sit down for an hour or 2 hours pretty much at almost any given time of the day, and I can make trades. Now, I'm still using a demo account, and I'll show you the results that I've gotten since I reset my account last Wednesday. But I'm able to manage my schedule and trade whenever I want. Now, I can still take tap to trades, so I'm not saying don't take those, but I've lowered the risk size, the lot size, because I've had some win, I've had some lose. So I just take them as recommendations. Some of the alerts, I'll go in, I'll take a look, but I'm now validating them against the scanners to see if I want to jump into those trades. And so the scanners have now given me the confidence to be able to make my own decisions and work my way out of some jams, meaning some of the trades I've gotten into didn't go the way I thought, but I've been able to work my way out of them using the scanners and still come out with profit. Right now, my account is up 23% since last Wednesday. Now, yes, it's a demo account, right? Let's be real. This is not real money, so you take risks maybe you wouldn't take. But I'm up 23% since Wednesday. $100,000 account, I got 123 in the account. If that was my 100,000, I'd have 23,000 in profit. And that's the other part of this. Let's not get so caught up in the contest that you forget what's actually happening. So you know that quote that says, I'll probably butcher this quote. It's probably too many CBD full spectrum drops while we're live on the call. But the quote, it goes, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. For a lot of people that are looking at this, they've bought into the destination of being in a fully funded account and trading using other people's money, because that's what I've talked about. So that's what we've talked about. So that's what our focus is on. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there are going to be people here that will qualify and trade using these contest accounts. But there's going to be some of you who won't be able to get through a contest, and maybe some that won't care. And the reason why I'm saying that is because as you're learning to use these tools, and you're mastering your ability to make trades on your own without relying on somebody else, at a certain point, you may come to the conclusion that a lot of people already have and have talked to me privately about. And they've said, why would I even care about the competition? I have some money. I now know how to use these tools. I'm just going to put money into a brokerage account under my own name, and I'm going to start using the tools, making trades, and I'm just going to keep all the money. So you're able to pick up the skills and use the tools that you need to manage your own funds so that you can eat without having to worry about somebody else feeding you. And that's what this is all about. We are teaching you how to fish as compared to just giving you the fish. When you give your money over to somebody else and say, pay me profits, you're saying, right, I need you to feed me, as compared to taking control and saying, I want to feed myself. So that's the journey that you're on right now. For those of you who are opting in, and in order to get to the destination, you're going to have to take it seriously. So the destination being either one, I'm going to fund my own account, or two, I want to go into a contest and I want to use somebody else's money. I want to trade with somebody else's money. So let's take a look at TradeX Mastery. Get funded with a 200 account today. There's 4 accounts, a 25, a 50, a 100, and a 200. Now, there's these add-ons. We'll take these off. But if you go, you can go here, prop.tradexmastery.com. It's a website. Everybody, can just go and read the terms and conditions and take a look at it. If you come down here, it's going to tell you an outline of what your targets are. So I think this is the part where I think people are missing, and there's a missing piece that they're not getting. So phase 1, you need to get a profit of 10%. Phase 2, a profit of 5%. So if you looked at my account, my demo account, since last Wednesday, I'm up $23,000. It's a $100,000 demo account. So I'm up 23%. But I would have failed the contest. So how does that make sense? If I'm up $23,000, if I'm up 23%, why would I have failed the contest? It's only been 5 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 days. I bypassed 10%. I'm at 23% profit. But if I'm being real with myself or with you guys, I would have failed that contest. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm tracking this process by recording all this as we go, recording the journey so that we can show this to other people as they come in. We'll be past all this, right? But we got to remember the aha moments we had as we were going through the process. And that's why we document everything. I would have failed that contest because I would have went outside of these lines. See here where it says max loss and daily loss? 5% and 10%. So it's not that I lost more than 5% or 10%. It's that I went into the drawdown more than 5% and even more than 10%. Meaning to get to 23%, I had to take some risks. When the trades were open, the account went down below that 95% threshold. And so I would have bounced myself out of the competition. Now, as far as I understand it, now they may tell us that's not how it works, but I think I kind of figured it out that would be how it works. Because think about this. They're not going to give you a $200,000 account and allow you to take big risks. Because if I go into the drawdown, like I think some of you have seen what I mean. When I'm in a trade, a lot of times before the trade closes in profit, it's at a loss. So if my trade is at a loss and I'm below that watermark, then if that trade if the market keeps going reverse of where I opened that trade from, and it closes or it hits my stop loss, or I lose more than I should have, then I am below that 95%. Now I've exposed them, whoever them are, whoever is funding that account, I've exposed their funds. They're not going to allow me to expose their funds like that. So they're not going to even allow us to go past a certain watermark with the trades being open, because if they did go the other way, then they would end up losing. So in order to protect themselves, what they're saying is you can't go below this watermark, which means you have to learn proper risk management. You have to learn how to trade and pretty much stay in profit the whole time. Now, I'm not saying you can't go into a little bit of a loss. That's not realistic. You're going to go into a little bit of a loss, but you can't go so far into the loss column, even if the trades don't close there and they zip back up and you end up making a profit. You were in the loss, and because you were in the loss, now they would be exposed, and they're not going to do that. They have figured out a way to do this where they are not exposed. Let me explain. Let me show you. I hope this is kind of making sense. I'm going to show you. I feel like sometimes seeing it on a whiteboard makes a little bit more sense. And I know we don't have that much more time. It's interesting how time goes so fast, where I feel like a half hour would be enough time to explain something, but it sometimes is not. All right, so let me get my whiteboard out. Oops. This way. Okay. So you guys should see my whiteboard. Let's say I qualify for a $200,000 account. Now, what do I need to do, first of all, to qualify for a $200,000 account? One, I need to put up a $1,000 deposit. Two, I'm going to have my account judged for a period of 10, really probably more than 10 days. It's realistically going to probably take most people more than 10 days because you have to stay very conservative. And three, what I'm working on is I need to hit these targets. I need to hit 10% in the first 5 days and then 8% in the next 5 days. But I need to make sure that I stay away from going either 5% into the drawdown or in the second phase, it's 4% into the drawdown. So it's not the profits everybody should be looking at. It's the drawdown. That's where you should be looking. So let me give you an example. If I have a $200,000 account, what's 10% of 200,000 would be 20,000. So in order to get to 10% of this account in profit, that would be 200,000 would be 20,000. So that would be the first 5 days. 18% would be, now I would need another times 8%, I would need another 16,000. So total, I would need 36,000 in profit in 10 days. But look at the other side of it, the drawdown. 5% in a given day, right? So what's 5% of 200,000 is going to be 10,000. So in my account, I can't go less than or more than 10,000 into the drawdown. So when I open these trades, what I want you to be watching is I want you to watch the profit screen, because if the profit screen, as the trade is open, goes below this watermark with open trades, whether it's a tax trade or whether it's a trade that you open manually, it doesn't matter where the trade comes from. If you go below the watermark, then you're going to be bounced out of the competition. Now, we'll validate that with the guys when they come on. It would be a little bit easier, I think, to pass the competition if it was based off whether the trade closes at a loss. But I don't think that's what they're looking for. And here's the reason why. Think about this. Let's say you now qualify for a $200,000 account. Everybody thinks it's too good to be true, but it's not. For the first 8 days, you can't take out a withdrawal. So after you qualify, there's an 8-day lockup. So let's say you're trading at 1% a day. You're profiting $2,000 approximately per day. You do that times 8, that's 16,000. So now there's 216,000 in this account, and they're going to give you a 5%, same process. They're going to give you a 5% grace. So 5% of 216 on a given day is 10,008. So you can go into the drawdown a little bit, right, while the trades are open, you can get down. But if you went all the way down, you're still above 200,000. So if you did bounce out of the competition by going more than 5% into the drawdown in a given day, you get locked out your account. You've lost more than the 10,008 for the given day, which puts you below, not below 200, because you would still be above 200, but below the watermark. But if you take 10,800 away from 216, they are sitting at 2052. So because they're sitting at 2052, they are still above the 200 that they turned over to you to manage. You can't take money out of that account. They're not giving you the money. You're managing the account. So they never had risk because you were already above the 200 anyway after the 8-day lockup before you could start taking out any of the withdrawals. So there's a little bit of a cushion. So now if you go below the 5%, you bounce out, they're still above 200. They're good. Even if they gave you back the deposit, the $1,000 that you put up, right? Because you do get that back if you win the contest. They're still above 200, 204. So they still have zero risk in this deal. There's zero risk. Now, where it gets a little risky is if you lose, and you get to the 10%, maybe they're kind of a little bit exposed, but I think more likely it's the 5% per day that you have to look at as compared to the 10% total. So they have zero risk in this deal whatsoever. Think about it. You're putting up $1,000 to get into the contest. If you lose, what happens to the deposit? Well, that's one area where you have risk. If you lose the deposit money. If you win, they give it back to you. So they don't have risk here. We're the ones exposed there. But so why would we do it? Well, we would do it because we want to get access to a 200,000 account or a $100,000 account so that we can trade with other people's money and we can keep 80 or 90% of the profits. That's smart money, right? This is very smart money management. So yeah, we are a little bit exposed, a little bit of risk, and they have no risk here, but the risk is so minimal in comparison to some of the other things we've ever done. So we have a little bit of risk here. This is why we want to practice on demo accounts. We want to get used to the tools. We want to understand risk management. We want to understand drawdown. If you don't understand what I'm saying, that's okay. Go back, watch some of the recordings, start learning and studying, and we're going to keep talking about it. And the things that you don't understand now, they will start to make sense to you over time. So we put up a little bit of money for the contest. Then once we have the account, now we have to get first through the first 8 days of that lockup. Now on day 9 and beyond that, we can take a withdrawal. It's either going to be 80% or 90% of our profits on a daily basis. We can take it every day if we want. So if we're taking $2,000 a day and we're on the 80% deal, 2,000 times 80% is going to be $1,600. You want to take $1,600 out each day? Go right ahead. They still made $400. So they're still in profit, right? So now keep in mind, they started with 200, went 8 days. There's a little bit of a buffer now. They're still making money each day. So they're winning. They're protected. If we go more than 5% in a given day or more than 10% total, we blow the account. They are already above 200, so they have nothing to lose. This is not magic. It's brilliant. For them, there is zero risk. They have zero risk. So when you say it sounds too good to be true, actually, if you had the money, if you guys had the money, you guys should start a prop firm contest company and let other people pay to go through these contests to have their accounts judged, because you'll have some money coming in from people that don't know what they're doing. That's not going to be us, because we're going to know how to use these tools. If it takes weeks or a little bit more time, maybe a month or two, whatever, you're going to master these tools so that when you do the contest, you're passing on the first try, right? Now, there's going to be other people that they're not going to have the training that you have, and they're going to go think they know what they're doing, and they're going to flop out of these contests. Well, okay, that's fine. That has nothing to do with us, right? So yeah, the likelihood of somebody going in and passing a contest is low if they don't have the right training. That's real. But you are hearing, seeing, and experiencing the correct things so that you know how to go into a contest and pass and succeed. So now you are going to have very low risk because you're putting up a little bit of money. You're qualifying your account to $100,000 or $200,000 account, and then you get to keep 80 to 90% of the profit. So from your perspective, it's brilliant. Low risk, high return. Low barrier to entry, high return. For them, they have zero risk also. So stop thinking that this is too good to be true. Stop wondering how they're just going to give away $100,000 or $200,000 account, because they're not just giving them away. That is not what's happening. This is not going to be as easy as you think it's going to be. It's not just a matter of learning how to accept a trade and then hitting it and just walking away and not looking at anything and not paying attention. If you think that's what this is, then you haven't been listening to anything I've said. I've never, ever once said that this was going to be simple, this was going to be easy, and all you had to do was just press a couple buttons. I've said immerse yourself, learn. Yes, it's just pressing buttons. In some cases, you could probably get away with that and pass a contest. But if you really want to get good at this, you're going to have to learn some basics. How to set the lot size. How much risk are you putting out there? What does the stop loss mean? What does the take profit mean? How do I enter in my own trade? A lot of people are still scared to do it. It's really easy. It's really simple. And once you do, now you can feed yourself. You don't have to worry about anybody else. And that's what we're going to talk about at the end of the call. So we're going to go over the scanner so you can feed yourself. So stop thinking this is too good to be true. It is not. You are not going to get handed over a $200,000 account. You are going to have to work for it. But the question is it worth it? Is it worth you learning a skill where you, once you have this down, and this is the aha moment, this is the light bulb moment that even happened for me. Once you have this skill, you will be able to sit down and say, how much money do I want to make today? And you will literally be able to print that money because you will now have a skill that will allow you to go into your toolbox, do some trades, make some money for the day, and feed your family. And if you want to be more aggressive and build something bigger, great. But this gives you something. Everybody needs that. Everybody needs that tool in their tool belt. Everybody needs to have the ability to feed themselves for the day. If you can feed, I don't care what's out there, network marketing, affiliate marketing, side gigs, side hustles, jobs, businesses. There's very few things that will give you the tools to be able to go earn money for the day. Like, why do you think these side hustles are so big right now? Like the DoorDashes and the Grubhubs and all that stuff. It's because those people can go drive or deliver tomorrow and get paid. Like you can go feed yourself that day. That's why those are so popular right now. They hit on your dopamine responses because you're making money over the course of the day, and you can get paid daily. So you can go feed yourself for the day. What else is out there where you can go feed yourself for the day? Not that many things. You can't start real estate right now and go feed yourself today. And even if you're good in real estate, in a year, you still have to go through a process in order to get to a place where those profits are running in. So I'm not saying there's not a lot of things out there where we can make profits over time. I'm talking about feeding yourself today. In this case, with these skills, with these tools, you are learning how to feed yourself today. That's what we're talking about. This isn't just about the contest, but if you can do it using other people's money, how brilliant is that? So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, we're 5 minutes after. Let me see. Brent's on the call. Brent Badal. He is one of the expert traders. Sorry for going over my allotted time. Appreciate you being on the call. Kind of got on a little bit of a roll there, trying to teach the contests to the group here so that they understand how that part of the system works. And it looks like, do we is Javid on the call? I know he said he's got something.
No, he is actually kind of feeling a little bit under the weather, so I told him to not worry about it. I'd rather him just kind of take a rest, chill. I got it. I'll hold the board down. So he's taking the morning off right now. Plus the time change in Dubai and everything. The last trade that he sent was morning for him, and actually he had cleared the TP hit and whatnot. So I was like, you already did you did your works already for the day.
There you go. There you go. Cool. Well, that's awesome. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you being on the call. And for those of you guys who don't know, Brent's one of the expert trainers at Akashx. And if you really haven't been tracking, you need to pay attention to this community and all of the tools. We have the ability right now to have an expert trader on just to kind of like help us learn, maybe speed up our learning curve a little bit. And Brent is actually the first person to help me load up my account, just figure out how to set up the demo account. So he's kind of been holding my hand over the past couple of weeks and gracious enough to come on the call and help us out here. And maybe we could catch a few live trades in the meantime. So again, this is a lot of this stuff you don't have to know, but the more you know, the more efficient you'll be at being able to use the tools. So if you understand what they're thinking when they send a tap to trade, it makes more sense. So, if you don't understand a lot of the stuff that either I'm talking about or Brent's talking about, don't let that intimidate you. Just always keep in mind that if you need to just keep it simple, you can just follow the trades, follow the alerts that they provide. If you want to take it to the next level and really take control, then, we'll provide you those tools as well. So, Brent, you want to share your screen, brother?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I made you a co-host here.
Thank you. Yep. So, yeah, like very good information too. That you were sharing, obviously, about TradeX and whatnot. It's definitely something. And I love that part piece of the mindset side of things. That's really what's key with her. Like I always try to tell people too, like you'll rush into getting at 200K, and it's like, okay, what's the most you've ever seen in your bank? And I'm saying it in the most humble way because when you're having a very large account, a lot of times a big mistake that a lot of people do that I did myself is that you're extremely 9 to 5, barely living check to check, if not that. I had 3 jobs at one point too, and I couldn't even make it at that end. And I rushed into a 100K account, and with a 100K account, I was able to lose up to a certain percent per trade. But when I would barely see it go negative, like $50, $60, $70, I would rush and I would close it. And I had so much more room. And same thing when it would go up. It would go up in profits, and I would be like, oh, that's 50. That could be whatever dinner for 2 days. Close it. When I needed to let that trade run, right? So it's always something maybe you might want to start up with a smaller one. If you're comfortable already moving larger numbers, then you go with the larger numbers, right? It's something of really getting that state of mind to understand that percentages, it's not money. At that point, when you're looking at that, that's something that really helped me a lot. A mentor taught me, Luis, who's actually here, an educator too. He said, like, hey, just forget about the money. Like, forget about the money. And that's a rule that I always put in my sessions, right? We don't speak dollars. I always tell everybody, like, hey, if you cleared, let me know. Do you get 20, 30 pips? If you made some, drop some dollar signs. But I never say, hey, type and tell me how much you made. So it's something that obviously it's a huge mindset thing. Now here I'm going to analyze the market so we can find this is pretty exclusive for you guys because I'm not a big Monday trader. I don't really send half the trades or trailer. It's on Monday unless it's like super, super good. I like money to play out. Not that I don't know what to do, how I do, but it's something that I don't really do much on Mondays. But I want to definitely do for you and your community. So pretty exclusive, you guys. So the next alerts you're not going to see if you're already in Akashx. You're probably not going to see them unless I like absolutely love it. But I'm not a big Monday trader. I have my screen divided here just because I have my scanner here on this side. I have a couple of them, and then I have my my TradeX here, which we're trading here, and that's where you go ahead into TradeX. You'll be able to trade inside Trade Locker, and this is what you would see. unless you're self-funded and you have a MetaTrader MT5 account, then it looks a little bit different. But at the end of the day, we're buying, we're selling, we're putting stop losses, take profits. That's all in that same situation. For those that already know how to trade, are going to trade with me right now. For gold, I typically do 3 up, 3 down. What that means is the last number, so it's $3. So right now it's at 21.59. That's where it is. That's what the value of gold is. So if I were to take a sell, let's say at 21.63, then sell, I would add a 3. So it would be 66 stop loss. I would take away 3. So it would be 60 TP, 3 up, 3 down. Technically, that's 30 pips, but I feel like that just makes things complicated. I like to keep things simple. If you have to say like, hey, we're going to do 30 pips, you might think, oh, okay, cool. My stop loss is 21.90, and that's not the case, right? So it's just 3 up, 3 down. And then I like to trade 2 other things. I like to trade NAS. That is NAS 100. It's a combination of 100 stocks altogether. It's called US 100, US Tech 100, Tech 100, NAS 100. It's the NASDAQ. That's what it is. So it's NAS 100 and US 30. The only difference between NAS 100 and US 30 is that it's 10 up, 10 down instead of 3 up, 3 down. And a lot of times we'll even do 15, 20 up or 20 down. And when I do that, I just make sure to cut the lot. Again, a lot of what I'm speaking right now is like what Ken said, right? You don't need to know this if you don't want to, because you could just take the type of trades. You can take trade alerts, and that's it. But it is always good to learn that skill set, to be able to have this. If you are in Vegas, if you have the opportunity to be in Vegas, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to have an event, a trading event. It's a lock-in situation, tap in experience. And each educator that's going to be there is going to have a certain area that's going to speak about. And what I'm speaking about is really the fundamentals to be able to go independent. So I'm going to go into some basics and whatnot. So, and if you want to take it to the next step, you have all the necessary tools here in Akashx to definitely take it to the next step. So again, I'm going to go ahead and look for some trades here. We have the opening bell happening in 17 minutes. The opening bell means that in New York, the New York Stock Exchange, they literally ring the bell. That's what it's called, opening bell. They ring the bell and they open the market out, and that's where a lot of retail institutions, they all flood the market. We get a bunch of volume. Things move all over the place. That's what I love. That's really my specialty in trading, is at that time, is at the New York opening bell. It's for these 3 pairs, and it's for news as well, high impact news. So we don't have high impact news today, but we do have some very important news happening throughout the week. A lot of it is leading towards if we are not going to, if we're not already in recession, that type of stuff. It's that type of news. So we have some heavy news. Again, not a financial advisor by any means, but just kind of, I like looking at this, knowing kind of what things are happening. So again, Wednesday, we get into the federal funds. We get into the forecast, statement, projection. We have a lot of stuff happening when it comes into Wednesday. Thursday, we have PMIs. Again, big news. Flash PMI, and then Friday we close out with Powell. So Powell, if you've ever seen the memes or anything like that, where Powell comes in, it's because the market all might be indicating that it's going up, and then Powell come up, say 2 words, and it goes down, or vice versa. So yeah, Powell has a lot of move in the market when it comes to that situation. So he's going to come out and speak. And he's in charge of that Federal Reserve. It's one of the chairmen of the Federal Reserve, is trying to help what's happening. So this really gives a lot of volatility of what's happening. Those who do trade a little bit already in the market, a lot of people will look at the DXY, for example, things of that nature, to kind of lead if we're going up or going down. To me, what's most important is the interest rates. That's really what moves everything. Institutions will move based off an interest rate, what's happening. They won't really move based off of other leading indications. To me, interest rate is what moves everything. And all this week, we have multiple sets of high impact news, all leading towards if the interest rate is going to go higher or lower, if it's going to remain, whatever's going to happen. So we have a big, heavy week, and that's good. A lot of people will be scared about volatility, like, oh no, I don't want the market to move. You need the market to move. You want to hit your take profit, you need the market to move. Again, you're not going to hit take profit. You're not going to click sell and just get some profits when it's not going nowhere. You need it to move. Preferably for me, it needs to move, and it needs to move fast. So that's why I like trading in the morning versus the afternoon or at nighttime, because I want us to hit TP right then and there and not have to wait hours upon hours for it to hit. But personal taste, when you're in Akashx, you're going to see that there's multiple educators. We all trade different ways, but at the end of the day, we all looked at the same thing. So that's the cool thing about it. Same thing with the different styles of trading. We have a stock educator. We have something called synthetic indices, which is for Latin America, that right now it possibly might come to the US here in July. That's another way of trading. We have binary traders, binary options. We have crypto traders. At the end of the day, we all look at the same charts. We all look at the same stuff. It's just we all analyze differently, but we look at the same stuff, something we call educator confidence. So yesterday there was a call that I had with Rich. We were analyzing the market for the week, and he had a total different reason of why it was going to go to a point where it's going to go, and then it's going to go ahead and drop. I had the exact same analysis for a completely different reason. But that's the beauty of being able to really learn the style that you want and then just sticking to it. But right now, what I'm really liking is a sell on NAS. I'm going to take a sell on NAS. We're going to do this one 20 up. So we're going to cut our lot in half of what we normally do, our risk, because I want to give it more room. I want to give it some room, somewhere where we go in around somewhere, let's see that, almost where it's at now. And stop loss would need to be 70. We're going to do it a little bit under. Yeah, a little bit under a half a pip because we're going to risk a little bit more. This could be a potentially big move here happening. Give me 1 second. And this is NAS 100. NAS 100. I want to sell. My stop loss. My stop loss needs to be 50, 23, 25. So I'm going to sell here on NAS. Where it's at now, my stop loss will be 95. Stop loss will be 95.
So it's 18,095.
Yes, thank you. Our ultimate take profit that we're going to look for is 79.50. We may close this a little bit. 79.40. 79.40. 79.40. We may close this a little bit earlier, a little bit later. And again, here's where you want to calculate your risk, right? That's the beauty about trade locker. So like, I want to go ahead and risk on this account actually around $500. So I'm going to do a 0.20 lot myself. And it shows me that I'm risking 469 to make 2,061. So that's good enough risk reward for me.
And what size is your account, Brent, on the trade locker?
This is a 50K account. So this one, being that I don't trade much Mondays, I have a busy day today. So I don't expect to be on the charts much. I usually risk from 0.5% to 1% is what I risk. When I get very risky, I like to do 1%. What I recommend for the most is risk 0.5%. At the point of what you're doing of your account, it's a lot of large numbers. So you are going over the risk, right? You have 5% for the day. Not that you should ever be looking to risk 5% on the whole day, but you have 5% to lose up into the day. And then you have 10% overall. So if we risk 1% for every trade, you need to lose 10 trades in a row, which we've rarely done. Again, not a financial advisor here, knock on wood that it stays like that, but we never really lost 10 trades in a row. So you have up to 10 trades. And if you do by 0.5%, then that means you have 20 trades you have to lose in a row to lose your account.
Right. So this is really important. I think this is probably the most important thing that this group needs to start to learn is the lot size and how to manage like what he just said, because if you're going to go into a contest, and even if you have now a funded account, you can't go under a certain amount. So if you get too aggressive, like I've seen people like sending me their screenshots and they're like, I'm up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's great. But how far down did you go when that trade was running? And would you have bounced out of the competition because you went too far in the drawdown? You can't do that, right? You gotta take calculated risks. So that's why you have to learn a little bit. You can't just come into this and say, I'm just going to press buttons. Because if you just do that, you're not going to know really what the risk is, and you're going to flop. And we don't want that. Our group is going to be 100% through competitions, through contests. Hear me when I say that. We are going to be 100%. Everybody's going to pass. It might take people longer to get there, but everybody will get there. But you got to take this part serious. Right. So did it go up a little bit?
It literally, when we went in, it wicked right down. So we went into that wick. Here, I said, we're going to have probably the next 10 minutes probably bounce in and out around this area. And then when we hit that opening bell, we should have that move to break down in the shorter time frames. So in the larger time frame, here's the 1 hour, I like this to go down. Like we have nice, if we kind of picture it here, we have like a line, if you want an imaginary line right here. We have a little respectful, it comes up, down, up, down, up, down. So I'm expecting this to come down because it's doing obviously this, what's called lower highs. So that indicates that the trend is going down because it's making lower highs each time. I'm expecting that continuation of lower highs. We have this pink line, which is the EMA 200, which is the moving average. So and it's every 200 days, it's going to average that the gold has touched this zone. So that's what the moving average means. The stochastics are above 70%. Anytime they're above 70%, that means they're overbought and they should go ahead and drop. That's why we see this move here over 70, drop under 30, up over 70. Now, it doesn't mean it's immediately going to drop, but it eventually needs to drop. We can see here like how it kind of squiggled around,
Brent,
around.
what indicator is that?
Above.
What indicator is that?
This bottom one is the stochastic.
Okay.
There's stochastics. This is what this bottom one is. And now we have to realize is that indicators will always indicate you a movement that already happened. So that's where like the tricky part comes in, right? That's where all the rest of the knowledge comes in, where you want to learn. Again, same thing, candle patterns. Candle patterns are another big thing too, but you know what pattern it is when it already happened. So a lot of times what we do is because we've seen the market so much, you grab a lot of different things and then we make that calculator risk saying, hey, I believe, speculate, that the next candle should be a red one forming and engulfing bearish. So it's a lot of times at that point, same thing here, like, okay, we're above the 70% now. We're at this lower highs. We're at the EMA 200. So my next move that I should see here is a stochastic kiss. So they touch each other and then they twist and they drop. So that's now like the next move right now. Once we see the kiss, twist, move, drop, then it's like, okay, cool. Now I know that we're in that. We made that right move. We're in the right direction. So a lot of people get caught with indicators and being like, oh yeah, I got an indicator. The indicator already kissed, so it's definitely coming down. No, it already kissed because it already went down. But that's just a good indication as far as like, okay, I'm in the right path. I'm taking the right steps. So again, I want to see this kiss and twist to really give me more level, more comfortability to hold on to it. Right now, we could close it and be done. Like I'm $320 something in profit. I can close this if I want to. I'm good. Right now, and our risk reward ratio, we're good. We risk 200 pips. It's 200 pips in profit. So like this is a good trade, right? Like this could be done. Like that's it. And another important thing too that I always say, if your goal is to make $300 and you're $344 in profit, just close it. Just close it. Like that's it. Like regardless if this goes all the way down to hell, who cares? Like you're gonna get to hit your daily goal. You're living today. You're working on your challenge today. Don't try to go for home runs. I like what's happening here. This movement. I'm not going to trade much today, like I mentioned today. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to touch my stop loss right here. This is all on TradeX, guys. So why is it doing this? Touch my stop loss, and I'm going to move my stop loss right here. $224 in profits. That's 0.5% that I would be making for the day right there if that comes back. So now my stop loss is in profits, meaning that if this comes up to this area that I put right here at 0.60, so that's 100 pips. If it comes up to 0.60, I'm going to get out of the trade automatically with 100 pips profit, which is actually 0.5% of my account for the day. I'm good. I'm good. 0.50%, 0.5%. My bad. Not 0.5%, 0.5%. So I'd be good at that point. And I can live with that. That's really at least at minimum, being that I'm typically risking 0.5%. If I could just make that at least half a day, I'm good. Because now I know that with this trade, the next trade that I take is risk free. Because if I'm risking 0.5% each trade and I just made 0.5%, that means that my next trade is risk free. It is dropping a little bit more now. You can see here, keeps on pushing. We have the opening bell happening in 5 minutes. And either the shorter time frame will win here, will respect these EMAs, and will consolidate this here. So it's going to just stay here sideways. And eventually one will win. Either the bulls will win and they'll go up, or the bears will win and it'll go down. It's at a perfect breaking point right now of what it needs to do. Came in at the perfect time, got our profits. If it comes back up to us, we're not coming back to not win anything. We're not coming back to lose. We're coming back to profits if it comes back up, which is very close right now to doing so. And I know there's a couple questions on the profit side of things. So again, if you were to go and on TradeLocker on your phone or on your laptop, that's why I love TradeLocker over MetaTrader for this purpose. So let's say again, don't take this, please, okay? I'm just showing you for the numbers. So if we were to like that sell, we took that sell. We click this little box that says stop loss. We put our number that we wanted to, right? As a stop loss, we put our number that we wanted to as a take profit. And then here on the lot, you see where it says 0.01, and then it says profit and loss, P&L. It shows here $32. So if you want to risk $60, then just put 0.02. If you want to risk 600, 0.20. You want to risk even more, put a whole lot. So you can see every time you move the lot, it shows you what your P&L is, what your loss is, what your profit is. That's why I love this. Because when you're going to start, there's going to, like right now, I told you guys at the beginning, I typically like 10 up, 10 down for NAS. The market right now was not giving me 10 up, 10 down. So I had the decision to say, okay, do we go 25 up? Perfect. We're going to do that. But we're not going to risk double and a half. Like typically what I do for NAS, for example, for me is a 0.40 to 0.50. I drop that to a 0.20. Yes, the risk was much wider, but the dollar amount never changed. Just because the risk amount was wider doesn't mean that you're going to risk more money as long as your lot size matches up to it. So I still said, hey, I don't want to risk more than 500 on this move. Either it be 10 up or 25 up, I'm still going to risk the same amount no matter what. That's where the lot size comes into play. I didn't need a bunch of calculators. And this is coming as an educator, guys. Like, even now, as an expert. I get confused when I use the calculators, guys. And I'm an educator. It's just weird. Like I'm not good at math. So this is why I love technology. This is why a lot of times I have those conversations like school is always kind of useless nowadays, right? Because it's like, what do you need to go to learn how to do a bunch of crazy math when you have a phone that does everything for you? And here's a clear example. I don't need to go break my head to try to learn how to use a calculator. And when I'm trying to put the trade, I'm trying to do all the crazy math when I could literally just put it right here and I could let the math be done for me. So that's the beauty of technology nowadays that we have. Might make us a little bit useless at that point. So, but hey, at least I didn't have to worry about at 8:30 in the morning trying to do a bunch of math to figure out what lots I need to do. I just played with the numbers. I did simple math, right? I just did simple math where I was like, okay, cool. It's 35. I want to risk 300. So instead of from 0.01, 0.10, 300. Okay, yeah, done. That's the math that I had to do right there for that one. So yeah, that's how you do it on TradeLocker, and it works the exact same way on the phone, guys. Just like TradeLocker on the laptop here works the same way on the phone, tablet, anything like that.
Yeah. So somebody's asking in the Q&A.
Really quick here.
Brent, somebody's asking in the Q&A. Is TradeLocker now linked to Akashx? Because that was one of the things that we've been kind of waiting on.
Yeah, TradeLocker for Akashx.
Yeah. Is that linked now?
So that is really exciting, guys. So we just actually hit profits. So we're out within profits right now, guys. So we made some profits there. Made some profits. Dollar signs. Please let me know if we got in there. TradeLocker. So TradeLocker, guys, is something pretty new. It's relatively new. There is no integrations right now with TradeLocker really at all. We're going to be the first of the market really to have an integration with that. So obviously having our own IT team, having Josh and everything, the connections, it's being worked on. We'll be the first in the market. So it's super exciting for that. There's two working pieces for it to work. They're both pretty good percentages in already in the works. So we should have this at any time. It's kind of weird. Last time I was speaking with Tap Trade, they were like, oh yeah, we're like 20% away. I'm like, oh man, that's going to take like 2-3 months. And then 2 days later, like, okay, we're done. I was like, wait, what? So I don't really understand how that timeline percentages works for them. I just know that it's pretty much there. Testing should start anytime soon now. Hopefully this week we can start testing to bring that to you guys, but it's almost there. It's just patience pays. At the end of it, I feel like every problem is an opportunity at that point, right? Being that Trade Locker has not been on Tap to Trade, or Tap to Trade has not been on Trade Locker, it's really almost forced a lot of people to come in and say, like, you know what, let me sit down for 15 minutes. Let me watch one video and learn how to put the trade myself.
Yep.
And when you do that, now you're one step closer to having the skill set for yourself that nobody can take away. And next thing you know, now you're taking trade alerts. Now you're looking at the scanners.
Yep.
And now you're really at that percentage, because there's a lot of people that come in and say, like, man, like passing this challenge, like you said, it's taking forever. I'm just doing tap to trades. I'm like, okay, I mean, we've sent out like 20 trade alerts. Did you take them? No, I don't know how. Did you watch the 5-minute video?
Well, and I'm going to say something to that, because 2 weeks ago, when I first started here, and I've been doing trades, I've had bots, licenses, like I know how to do some of this stuff. I never knew how to manually input a trade on MetaTrader 5. I mean, I knew how to say sell or buy with no stop loss and no take profit, but I didn't know how to put any of that other stuff in. So I didn't know really what any of that other stuff meant. I knew what it meant when programming a bot, but I didn't know how to do it manually. And Brent can attest to this, because he's the one who helped me set up the demo account, load the MetaTrader 5 on my phone. And so he knows I knew nothing at that point about how to do this. And he said, just go watch a couple of these videos. I did. And I did it reluctantly, because all I wanted to do was tap the trade. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted somebody else to do the work. And just like our programming, you're not alone. And if you're thinking, no, I just want somebody else to do it, I just want to hit accept and let the experts do it. I don't want to learn any of this stuff. You are not alone. Yet, I took his advice. I went and watched the videos. I learned how to do it myself. Then I heard Brent or Maddie or somebody say, check out the scanners. So then I went in and started looking at the scanners, and I'm like, oh, so this is pretty cool. And let me try to put one in without anybody's help. I mean, it's a demo account. What do I got to lose? Hooked. Hook, line, sinker, done. Completely hooked. I've done probably 400 trades in 2 weeks. And I'm up, I would say, I'm up 75, 80% in the positive trades as compared to the negatives. So I'm learning now how to do a skill that I always pushed off, that I always said, I don't want to do this. And now I'm hooked, because now I know I can sit down at my computer and with my phone at any point during the day or the night, because you could trade a lot of different currencies. And I could say, I'm going to spend the next 2-3 hours and I'm going to make some money. And I can find some trades, make some money, shut it down, walk away. I'm now in full control of my schedule. And now I have the confidence to say, I know I can pass a contest at this point too. So even though this all might sound like, I don't know how to do any of the stuff he just talked about. So just so you guys are aware, like, this is great because I like hearing it, but I have no idea. But half the stuff was that Brent just went through, because, with the news and, the graphs and how he did, I don't know none of that stuff. But I know how to now manually enter a trade. And if you look at the scanners and they say buy or sell, right? Like, that's like, trading for dummies. I mean, I can do that. Anybody can do that. So what he's saying is very, very accurate, very, very true. And you want to learn how to feed yourself, in my opinion.
Yep, 100%. And it'll be obviously not next to anything like that. Tap to trade will obviously be ready for TradeX. Just gotta give it a little bit of time, because again, it's something completely new. It's not something that's out there already. But again, that's the blessing that we have of actually owning the IT company and Josh being Josh and everything, the whole nine. So where we're going to be the first one to the market to have something like that. So it'll be done. It'll be done for sure. In the meantime, we just manually take them. If you're on MetaTrader, then right now Tap to Trade is working for you. But as you can see already, those are on MetaTrader versus TradeX. For Trade Locker, you see there's a lot of tools. So for example, on MetaTrader, to look at the lot size difference, you kind of do it the same from your phone, but you have to go back forward to kind of look at that price. And it's a lot of back and forth situations where it's just, to me personally, it's stressful. And I know myself to be like, I'll just throw one line and figure out what happens. Obviously, you don't want to do that. So that's why I like with TradeLocker, that it actually shows you a little bit of a difference right then and there for the amount how you could do it. And yes, I mean, I wasn't born knowing everything. I was just in the same spot that you're going to, and a lot of you guys are here to where it's like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about, but I kept on going into those sessions every day. And I was clicking those buttons at the same time with them. And I was like, okay, next thing you know, it's one of those things to where I cannot tell you right now, and I'm sure a lot of other educators can do the same, and full-time traders. I can't tell you like, okay, it was on December 17th or whatever, 2000, when I learned. I don't know. Like, it just one day, next thing you know, I was like, oh, that's a support and resistance.
Yep.
Like,
that's called immersion.
Like, oh, that's that.
Right.
It's one of those things to where it's different for everybody.
Yep.
It's not like you're going to learn this in a month, you're going to learn this in a year. It's just, for some people, it clicks super fast. For some people, it takes a little bit longer. But hey, the cool thing here is that you're going to have the trade alerts, you're going to have the type of trade, you're going to have the scans, you're going to have the live sessions. So you have so much to where you can make sure you're growing as you're learning, you're earning as you're learning as you're earning at the same time, right? But yeah, that's pretty much what it is on there. I'm just checking really quick what's the EP. Hopefully you got it in there yet. If not, no worries. I didn't check the chat. Sorry, I had that over here on this side. I didn't see you guys there.
So let me ask you another question on TradeLocker. So TradeLocker is like MetaTrader 5, right? So we could just go and download TradeLocker. How do we integrate TradeLocker, or should we not be using TradeLocker yet until it's integrated into Akashx?
Yeah, I will send. I'm going to double check today, and I'll send you a link then of a broker. I don't know much of that broker, but I believe they're offering demos for TradeLocker, because there's not many brokers out there that are allowing demos. Like even the demo.TradeLocker, it's going to ask you for a broker. So that's what I know TradeLocker allows you to use a demo, but there's not a lot of brokers out there. And I think there's one that's still giving it. I'll double check, and if it is, I'll send you the link. I don't know much of them, like I said, as far as on a live account aspect of it. But I know that I think the only, if not, should still the only one giving out a demo, so you guys can start playing around with TradeLocker. But outside of that, if you guys want to, of course, it's something that I always say, go ahead and if you're ready to go ahead and get into this, get yourself your TradeX account. They'll give you your TraderLocker login credentials. Watch a few videos. I have a few videos. I provide a few additional videos that I've recorded to Glenn, but you could obviously provide them to you guys. Go in there and do a 0.01 lot trade. Risk $1. Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take 0.01. I'm going to take 10 trades, and I'm going to lose $10. But it's just $10. That's a 0.01. It's not going to burn your account. It's not going to set you back like crazy. I don't want you going in there for the first time and clicking an entry out of one lot and risking a lot more, right? But worst case scenario, that's what I've been telling a lot of people that come with me, like, hey, it is what it is. You're gonna have to go all in. Like, go all in. Here's the videos, 0.01 lot. Make sure that's set there, and then take your first buy, sells. Okay, I'm comfortable that I'm gonna go in. And then, I mean, like myself, if you go into my live sessions, I trade live what I did right now. So you guys are actually seeing my screen as I'm taking the trade. So you see what button I'm clicking and things of that nature too. If that helps bring along. But I'll look into that today, Glenn.
Yeah, so I guess that's one of the. Now, do we need TradeLocker to do the contest?
Yes, because right now TradeX, the only platform that TradeX is on right now is TradeLocker.
Okay, so you need TradeLocker. So if we do the contest, then we're going to need to use TradeLocker. They're going to, once we sign up for the contest, we'll get the credentials. We can log into TradeLocker. And what you're saying is that there's only one broker that you know of right now that will allow demo accounts. So we can use a demo account to go through a contest. And the only thing we're waiting for Akashx to program TradeLocker in so that we can take the tap trades and still participate in the contest. But if you know how to manually enter a trade like I do now, I don't have to really wait for Akashx to integrate TradeLocker into Akashx. I can go do the contest, start with TradeLocker on a demo account, and just use that to manually enter trades in. And then once Akashx has programmed them and integrated them, then I can accept the tap to trades as well. But I'm not handcuffed now because I took the time, just like Brent said, and I went watched a couple videos, started practicing with low lot sizes. Then I got a little bit more aggressive, and then once you know it, it's like you're gonna say, "I can't believe I didn't know this." Like it's so easy, but yet people get intimidated, so they don't do these little things, and they're constantly having to get fed by other people. And I'm not saying that's really a bad thing, but if you want to control your schedule, like I have somebody on here in particular I'm thinking of who she's very tight on her schedule and she can only do like an hour to a day. And I'm like, okay, well, if you learn what I'm talking about, then you could sit down for 2 hours every day. Now, you can't force the market to do the things you want to do during that 2 hours. So maybe you won't find as many trades. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't on some days. But I can guarantee you'll find something to sink your teeth into during that time. And now you're managing your own schedule. And so that's really what I wanted to find out because I'm ready to start my competition. I don't need Akashx or the tap to trades at this point. I would like to have them, but I don't need them. So I can go in, I can start a contest. I would like to practice on Trade Locker a little bit because I've been using MetaTrader 5, but I'm sure I can figure it out. And then I can just set up a demo account is what you're saying.
Yeah, and if you go into Akashx, go to my live sessions, scroll to the bottom, and then just push through a couple days. It was a couple weeks actually, so push through a couple numbers until you find a replay session titled Trade Locker Setup and Live Trade. So that session, I actually went the first like half hour. I went through showing you guys on the computer how to go in, how to log in, how to set the indicators that I have, how to take the trades, how to put the lot size. I took a live trade. I moved the stop loss. I closed it. Like I did all the processors so you could pause and replay. And it's called Trade Locker Setup and Live Trade. And then I have another one. I think I already seen that one, Glenn. And if not, remind me and I'll send it to you. I have a recorded session. I recorded from my phone, like I screen recorded from my phone, the exact same thing, like how to go into Trade Locker, how to take a trade, how to close it, stuff like that. I have it on my phone. If I haven't sent it to you, remind me, I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool.
You can share it with the team as well from the phone there, so you can take that. But yeah, as you said, just the contest, you could only do it from Trade Locker right now. And I said, I'll double check. That company was like 2 months ago, around a month and a half, 2 months ago, they were giving demos out. So I don't know if they still are. I'll check. Because I said Trade Locker is very new. Not a lot of brokers are on Trade Locker itself. But I'll double check that. And if they do, then that's awesome. Because now you can download a demo and really mess around with it until you're comfortable. And if not, like I said, worst case scenario, 0.01. Even at a $25,000 TradeX account, with 0.01, just taking little practice shots like that, you're not going to hurt your account. Like as long as you're doing 0.01.
Now, let me ask you another question that I was talking about, but I want to just clarify because I think I'm right, but I want to make sure. So let's say I'm in a contest and you know that you can go down 5% in a given day or 10% total. Is that 5% in the drawdown or a closed trade? Because I'm up 23% since Wednesday, but if I'm being honest with myself and with everybody that's tracking my journey, that would have, I think, blown me out because I went into the risk a little bit higher to get some of those profits. I went into a pretty aggressive trade over the weekend where I was down like 15,000 before it came back. So I knew what I was doing, but my risk was high. And then when I got the profits, I made like 13,000 on this one trade. But I think I would have blown my account because of how far I went down below the watermark. Am I right about that?
Yeah, so it's 5% drawdown. So
Right.
two different things there. So yes, if you start your day out and you've made your first trade that you take goes right into drawdown, negative 5%, you're done. Like as the trade is open, it's not the trade that has to close, but if the trade is open and your drawdown is 5,000, and as soon as it hits 5,000, it's done. Everything was shut off automatically. You're gone. You're done.
Yeah.
That happens there. Now, other thing, not that you should ever do this too, but you take your first trade and you make $1,000, and your drawdown is 5,000. When your next trade goes down and it goes down 5,000, it's not going to close until it goes 6,000 because you made 1,000. But it has to be in that same trading cycle.
Gotcha. So listening to what you're saying,
a day off, if you close a day off with 3,000 profit, doesn't mean that tomorrow now you have $8,000 to risk.
Gotcha.
No.
So it's each day. So again, then if I'm listening, used to that. Yeah, if I'm hearing you, then what the strategy would probably be then is start off with some really quick scalping trades where you're in and out, $30, $50, take profit. Even if you could have made hundreds, just get a little bit of a buffer in your account. So that way, as the day goes on, you can start to get a little bit more aggressive because you've now built yourself up a little bit of a buffer over that 5%. Is that a good strategy?
It depends. For me, it wouldn't be, for example, because I don't like trading past noon. I just don't like the market, how it gets past noon. So if I just scalp in the morning to take one big trade later in the afternoon at night, that's not going to be good for me. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be good for you. So it really just depends. Something that you're going to start looking for during the day. There's 4 different trading cycles throughout the day. You need to find which one's good for you.
What do you mean? What are the 4 different trading cycles?
So there's New York, Asia, Japan, and London. I think that's how it breaks down, something like that, because I want to break down in 2. But basically, that you have the morning for New York, you have the dead time during like the day and night, which is the Asia market most of the times, and then you have the London, which is kind of like overnight for us here. So for me, like during the day, Asia, I don't really like that market much up until kind of where Matt trades. I'm still not a huge fan of that time frame, but Matt does. To me, it's too slow. Then London, I don't like it at all. It likes to consolidate, then it moves, and it's just, I don't want to stay awake till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning trading anyway. So my brain is probably just not there. It might be a really good market, but my brain is just not there. But then New York is where I like it. So that's like, you're going to figure out kind of what period of the time you want to lock. If you're getting serious to this, you want to lock into the point where you say, hey, the best time that I've seen myself trade is between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Okay, so be it. It might be 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's fine. You want to find your cycle there. So what you're saying, it's not wrong. It's not like, for me, I know it wouldn't work, but it's not that it's wrong. More importantly, I think it's just the main thing here, just because you're given 5%, don't even get close to 5%. Like, again, you shouldn't be risking more than 1% overall for the day. Even better, 0.5% for the day. I'm more aggressive, so that's why I go ahead and I'll risk 1% in one trade, and I might risk up to 2% of a day just because I'm more aggressive. But overall, for somebody that's just beginning, somebody that wants to really get there farther, yes, it's going to take you a lot longer to get there. But the best thing for you to do would be risking 0.50 to 1% for the entire day. My day right now was literally this trade. So that's why I was like, I'll do the 1%. If I knew I was going to sit here, I was going to trade here all morning, then that trade, instead of being a 0.20 lot, it would have been probably a 0.5 lot. Yes. Because I want to give myself enough room in case that loses. I want to give myself enough room to take maybe 3 more trades. I would have divided that by 3.
Right. So think about what he's saying based on, I mean, obviously he's got more experience than all of us combined. Well, I don't know everybody's experience on the call, but I'm assuming he does. And yet he's able to come in and basically do his day in a half hour, right? So that's the goal, right? To build yourself up to a point where you can, get your whole day done in a very short period of time. So, all right. So Javid just sent out a tap to trade. If you guys were paying attention, that came while we were on. That was gold. Let's see here.
He went in for a sell, I think.
Yeah, he went in for a sell. Right now, it's in the drawdown. Right, so this is a good example of what we're talking about. So if you hit approve on that trade, then immediately the market went up. It's a sell trade. So if you look at your trade if you're on MetaTrader 5, right now it's in the negative. Right, you see it in red. That's what we mean when we say in the drawdown. So if you are, let's say you're in a contest going for a $100,000 account, you have 5%, right? That means that you have $5,000. if you hit approve on Javid's trade was a 2.45% lot size, which is kind of aggressive on a 100,000 account, because if it wins, great, you're going to make probably your whole day's worth of profit in one trade. If it loses, you could, I mean, I don't have Trade Locker set up, so I don't know exactly what the amount would be, and I haven't calculated the stop loss to see where it would be. But if it did lose, you could potentially maybe blow out at the 5%. So that's why I'm saying you can't just go into this blindly and say, oh, I'm just going to take the taps and that's how I'm going to go through the contest. I want you guys to know some basic things, because in that scenario where that tap to trade came in, I could have adjusted the lot size down to 0.5 or a 1 lot size, because I wasn't evaluating the market. I don't know where we're at. Like, I don't know what's happening. So, I mean, I'm counting on him that he knows what he's doing, right? But I didn't look at anything. So do I want to, risk my whole day on one trade? I want you guys to get to the point where you're able to make real decisions and you're not just depending on other people. Now, I feel that he knows more than me, right? So I look at right now, and my gut instinct would have been that the market would go up, not go down. But again, I'm following the expert. I want to see where this plays out. And I think it's great to do live so we can talk through the differences between tap to trades, following the scanner, all this stuff, because it's all important, and it's all going to come down to what skills you need to be able to get through one of these contests. And that's my goal, is to be at 100% for the team getting through the contest, because this is potentially a game changer for everybody. Because I don't care if you have 100 or 200,000 hours to play with in your own money. If you can play with somebody else's money, why would you want to risk your own? I don't even know who would want to. Why would you want to? I'd rather give up 20% of my profits, but have no risk, because I'm now using somebody else's funds. So, I mean, I think everybody's goal should be to get through the contest.
Hey, Glenn.
Yes.
It's Wendy. And I wanted to tell you, because it's happening right now. So Brent's on the call. That tap to trade not coming through on my Akashx account on my phone or on my computer.
So why would that?
I'm on a Mac. I'm on an iMac.
Okay, you're on a Mac.
I have an Android phone.
Yeah, see, when I saw the alert come through, and I went right into Akashx, and the tap was there. So if you go on your phone and go to tap to trade,
yep.
Do you see the trade?
Nope, it's old data. It's not new stuff.
So you don't see the last
Wendy,
one?
just close your app and reopen it again, and usually it'll show up.
I only opened it for the first time to get that tap to trade.
Yeah, maybe just try to close it and open it back up and see if it refreshes, though.
Are you an iPhone or Android?
I'm on Android with my phone, and I'm on an iMac on my computer.
Okay, yeah, the computer won't ding at you in that sense, but the Android will. So Android is super important. A couple things. So Android, you need to make sure that you have your battery saving, battery optimization, whatever thing, have that off. If you have that on, you're not going to get the notification. That is just something that's a new Google rule that there was no way we were able to break. If the app needed to be there, that's the only thing I need to have. So you cannot have your battery optimization on any sort of battery optimization, either that be through an app that you downloaded or the actual battery optimization that your phone has. So go into your settings, make sure that's shut off. The other thing too that we've seen a lot with Androids, and we've been back and forth on that, is once you open, I know you said you opened it for the first time, right? But now that you open it for the first time, make sure you shut your app down completely, and then the next one will come through. If you leave it open, your phone thinks that you're looking at it. So you're not going to get a notification because your phone thinks that you actually have it open, even though it's minimized, but it doesn't realize it like that. So make sure every time you open the app, you shut it down completely. And then, like I said, go into the battery optimization and do that part. If it's still doing that, I would maybe just delete it completely, re-download it again, make sure that you have your notification settings on, and that your battery optimization is off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my battery optimization is off. Like I will see if I have the app closed, right? The app will give me a notification sitting there, and then I open it and I click tap to trade, and it's old data. It's really strange. So I'll try to maybe uninstall and reinstall the app again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the same thing happens on my computer too.
Yeah, I know I had to uninstall and reinstall in the beginning, but now it's working good. Is there a tech, Brent? Like, is there somebody like tech support or somebody that we can get to troubleshoot some of this stuff? Like, that's one of the questions, not this particular question, but things like this that have come up. And I don't really know where to send people to get help. Um, is there something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I don't want to like blast support because they can't really do nothing. But if you send a message to support an email, they'll get more and more tickets about it, whatever, and they'll escalate it to whoever it needs to be at. But whenever I hear something like that, I just go directly and a lot of times I'll just message chats that I'm in, like for Tap the Trade and stuff like that, where there's certain people there. And I'll be like, hey, this is happening a lot. And they'll just give me that data, like, hey, just make sure you share the following. And that's what I share to you guys. If there's something like more specific to that, where you're paying for Akashx and you can't log into Akashx and it's giving you error, then it's a support thing. They might be able to reset your account. But at the end of the day, like for what's happening to you, it's not like a reset account thing. And I'm not trying to like brush off Akashx, but if 10 people on the call are getting it and you're not, I think it might be more, maybe something has to do with maybe you don't have the last update on Android as far as like your Android phone itself, or the battery optimization, or notifications, things like that.
But he's just trying to be polite. He's just saying user error. You know.
Another guy yell at me. Like,
see, Brent, these are all my friends, so I can say that stuff. He's trying to like dance around it. I'm like, he's just saying you're dumb. Come on now. I'm kidding.
This doesn't work. And I was just call me and share me with an iPhone. I was like, just FaceTime me and show me your phone. Like, show me your screen. And I was like, and I told him like 10 times, notifications on. It's on and on. As soon as you show the screen, notifications off. And I was like, there you go. Click that little button. You see where it says on now? Like ON, that means on. Okay, have a nice day. That's like you have the notifications off. So yeah, I mean that's your Akashx. It would be. I would say Glenn, at this point it would be like, okay, you know she paid. You can see she paid, and she's going into Akashx and it's just not opening. Then yeah, that might be something to where we want to reach out to like support or something like that to like, hey, there might be something wrong with your like direct account. But yeah, hopefully you get that fixed. Let us know, obviously. But
okay, thank you guys.
No worries. That's it for me. I gotta bounce, guys. I need to head out a little bit earlier today, but it was fun. Obviously, meeting with everybody, being able to drop that trade. Hopefully, you're able to make some profits on that. Those that, like I said, have a possibility to go to Vegas or close to or in Vegas, I'll see you guys Wednesday, Thursday there for the event. Make sure you drop through to the corporate office. It's great. And yeah, make sure we have a profitable week. Keep on growing. I'll pass it back to you, Glenn. Gotta go.
All right. Well, that was awesome. Of course, for the like 2 seconds, I paused my video to step away and he jumped. So I'll make sure he's awesome.
Hey, Glenn, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Hey, when you're on the tap to trade, when it came through, he's selling at 1.95, the risk factor, and that's a little bit high. Is there a way that we can change that after we tap and trade, and we can go in there and put it at 0.5?
Yeah. So, for one, you can change it when you do the tap. The one thing that you can alter, so the stop loss and the take profit are built in to the taps, but the lot size is not. It's in there, but you can change it if you want to. And so if you know, like I'm running $100,000 demo account. So each currency, you got to kind of learn the lot sizes for the currency. Like I like the Trade Locker thing. I haven't used it yet, but I see on Trade Locker when the traders use that that they're putting in the lot sizes, and it tells you how much you're risking and what your potential profit is. But on MetaTrader 5, I've heard people say that it does that, but that's not necessarily what I haven't had the same experiences where I can see that. So it's hard for me to determine based off of that. So I'm now just, what I've been doing is monitoring the lot sizes and the risk and getting to know them on each of the currencies. So like as an example, we're in gold. On a $100,000 account, I might start with a 0.5 lot size or a 1. And then if I go deeper into the trade, which I'm going to explain in this next section, I may jump to a 2, but I rarely would start at a 2.5, because look at what's happening right now. I'm at a 2.5 and the trade is going, it looks like it's kind of going against Javid's strategy, and it's almost at the stop loss. And I have now, because of the size of the risk, I'm down like $500, almost $550 in risk, because I did not adjust the lot size. And I didn't adjust the lot size because I wanted to talk about it on the call, because I think this is a good example of not really knowing and then just saying, okay, I'm going to accept it. I had a little buffer in my account. I'm up 23,000. So I'm like, okay, I can do this live without, causing too much damage if the trade doesn't go well. So I think it's really a good lesson.
If you tap it, can you change it then? When do you actually
Well,
change it?
when you go to accept it, that's when you would change the lot size. So if I go in now and I go, here, let me share this. I'm going to share my phone. It looks like it might hit the stop loss. Yep, it hit the stop loss. So shoot, I can't even forget it.
$645.
Yep, I just lost $659 on that trade. So that's it's actually a good example of, I took that trade. When I was looking at, I'm like, this looks like the market's going to go up. I don't know what he saw that he thought the market was going to go down, but that's why I've now come to the conclusion. And I've had as many successful taps as unsuccessful, but I've come to the realization that I don't necessarily just want to rely on the tap to trades. And furthermore, I'm not willing to risk sometimes what they're willing to risk on the tap to trades, because my goals may be different. And that's one of the things that I've been communicating back and forth with Josh and Maddie Pips and some of these guys about, is that the taps, so one of the things, and I think I told you about this, they're going to be putting in a leaderboard so that we'll be able to see who's winning on the leaderboard. And we may just want to follow taps by certain people, or we may say, hey, I'm to the point, and I'm going to show you guys this. I'm at a point now where I am primarily using the scanner, which right now it's the pulse scanner, and that pulse scanner is been kind of like my money on almost every one of the trades that I'm in. I'm finding. See, now look, if you look at pulse, oh no, this is XAG. What's this? This is not right. That was silver. So let's look at gold. Right. So this is gold right now on pulse. So if you go into Akashx, right, you have all these tools. It's not just one thing, right? Like I came in for tap to trade. That's what I heard was I heard tap to trade, press a button, accept the trades. And I've had a lot of good ones, but I've had some that failed. So I like taking control, and I use the traders, with all due respect to them. I use them as like not my backup. I use them more as like a barometer testing. Like I like to know what they're thinking, and I'll jump in on some of their trade alerts or their trade alerts or their taps. but I'll either adjust the lot size, or I'll just use what they're suggesting to kind of like match up with what I'm seeing on Pulse, because Pulse, for the most part, for me, has been very effective. So like right now, we're on gold, and I'm going to go to the pro chart on my phone. So I'm on my phone. We're on gold. Okay, so now if you're looking at your Akashx, Joel just did a tap. So let's see. He did a buy. He did a buy. Now, all right, he's saying buy. I don't see. Okay, so I'm on the chart. He's saying buy. I see two different trading strategies. See these two red points that are both saying sell. I'm not buying right now. No. I'm going to go. Let me look at this chart again. Okay, so it is going up. So you see the green, right? But I see that it's about to turn. I don't want to be in a trade going up right now, because I think right now the market is going to flip. Now let's see who's right and who's wrong. Now I'm going to probably say something. I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I've learned to read these. These are not charts. I'm not mapping all that stuff out like these guys are doing. I'm really just depending on this one scanner. I've tried the Golden Rain scanner. I like this one because you see this little thing where it says indicators. I can put in whatever indicator I want. And so I'm going to just show you one more indicator here. It's very similar. That's why I asked Brent about what he was looking at. It's called MACD. So you just go to indicators. And now I have this indicator, and it's kind of similar where it shows you where these lines cross over. So see, he said like kiss, when the lines kiss. So here's a kiss, here's a kiss, here's a kiss. Well, here's a kiss here. So let's see. Right now, the blue crossed over, or actually the red crossed over the blue, and it's got this space in between, and you can see the market dropped. Then the market came back, it kissed. So they might be right. It might be trending upwards. It might be trending upwards now. So he could be right. Let's see. If I go into my MetaTrader 5, it kind of went up, but then it went right back down a little bit. But again, I didn't enter into the trade because I am looking at the scanner, and if I was looking at a leaderboard, and I just want to be careful with what I say, because I don't really mean to disrespect any of these traders, but I don't know. I think there are certain ones that I would follow. Brent, Matty Pips, Javid most of the time. These guys, all three of them, have been really good on gold. I like, there's another guy that I like for crypto. I don't remember his name. He's been really good on Bitcoin. But there are certain traders where I might not take their trades just because I've had too many hit the stop loss. And I'm like, yeah, they may be great, but for me, I haven't had luck with them. So my point is that this is our tool belt. This is our money. So you gotta make your own decisions and learn, who do you want to follow? Who do you want to take advice from? I'll tell you the advice I'm taking is my own, based off of using the pulse scanner and using them as a barometer. And I'm having these arguments with myself throughout the course of the day when I sit down to trade, because now I'm starting to understand a little bit more, far from being an expert, but I'm understanding a little bit more about what I'm looking at because I've just immersed myself into the tools. So right now,
how do you put Pulse on it? How do you actually get it up and running?
So all you do is log into Akashx and go to scanner. And right now, the market is going up. So if we were in that trade, we would be in a positive, right? So, but now look, I'm on Pulse. I just got this alert. So I think I'm going to go in on here, and I'm going to share my phone now so you guys can see this. So you see what I'm looking at on the screen, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at on my phone. And I don't know how to show both at the same time. So I'm just going to show you my phone so you can see what I'm putting in, if it'll ever sync. All right, there it goes. All right, so now I'm in MetaTrader. I'm on the chart. It already dropped down a little bit, but I'm going to go in on a sell trade, and 2160. I'm going to just do a half a lot size. I'm going to say 2163, 3 up, and then I'm going to go 2157, 3 down, and I'm going to hit sell. So I went in on a sell. Now I'm going to go back over to the chart. You see I entered in a sell. It's kind of like hovering around that line right now. Now the pulse scanner gave me a dark red sell 3 points. So there's 3 indicators, 3 different indicators that are all saying that the market is about ready to turn. Now that doesn't mean, based on my experience, that it will turn right away. Sometimes it still goes up because a sell means we're saying the market's going to go down. So I'm going to show you guys, and this is what I'm going to train on this week, is I'm going to train on 2 things. We're just going to focus on the pulse scanner and the ladder trading technique. And I didn't make this up. This is something that I was taught, but I've been using this to sort of work my way out of certain trades and get into profit. So now you see the market went against my strategy. The scanner said sell. It's still showing dark red, but the market went up. I started with a low lot size. So now I'm going to double down and go to a 1, and I'm going to come in and set this at 63.3, and then this is going to be at 58.3, and I'm going to hit sell again. So now, do you see I came in a little higher? So I was in the negative, right? So now I have 2 trades in the negative because the pulse scanner is telling me that the market's about ready to turn. So even though I went in on my first trade small at a 0.5 lot size, and then the market still went up. So instead of me panicking and selling for a loss, I'm looking at the scanner, which gives me a little bit more confidence to say that the 3 indicators are saying that the market's about ready to turn. So when the market went up, I didn't back down. I manned up and I went in on the trade higher. So now I'm betting that the market's going to turn. So now we're below where I originally started, right? Like right below, right? See where it is? It's like right below. If I zoom in a little bit, I'm now in the profit on both of these trades, but it just kind of started. I think I can get a little bit more. And I'm at like 80, 85, 100, right? Let's see. A little bit more. All right, so now I can close this position and I can close this position. And if I go back over here, I have 2 wins for 92 and 22.50. So 114.50 based off of jumping in and jumping out of that. Now, it's still going down. So some people might look at that and say, you jumped out too soon. But I am, instead of me, I guess, not being greedy, because it's not, if I had the traders on the phone and they were telling me, or the Zoom, and they were saying, we think it's going to go here, I don't know how to really tell where it's going to go and how far it's going to go. What I can tell is I can look at this screen, and when it shows me I'm in profit, I can then say, okay, I'm going to sell. I'm going to take my $100 because of on a 100,000 account, 114 divided by 100,000 would be 0.001. So all I would really have to do if I was aiming for a $1,000 profit for the day is I would have to do that like 10 times. And if I did that 10 times, I'm not really risking a lot because I am kind of staying like really close to the vest. So I will stay away from my 5% drawdown. And I've done this so many times now that, and I'm not saying that it works every single time. There are some times where the market just flips and goes away, and you know you can't get to it. But if you look right now at my scanner went to pink now, so that really bright red went away. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's gonna flip back and it's gonna start going green again. But if you take these little scalp trades all day, then you kind of stay out of a high risk situation and you can just pluck, 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 pluck. And everybody that I've shown that strategy to now is starting to win on their own. So I know everybody came in for tap to trade. I'm not saying don't use tap to trade, but the way I've been using it, other than today to show the example, I've been using tap to trade differently now, where now if a tap to trade comes in, if I see it on the scanner and I'm seeing the same thing, I'll take the tap. Maybe I'll start at a lower lot size because I'm using the ladder technique to work my way out of trades that maybe go against the strategy, because I am not looking to be in trades all day, every day. I want to get in and out 5-10 minutes. I want to be done. I don't want to be sitting there all day. And so I'm combining a little bit of things that I've learned over the past few years. I took a course on 1% trading where that's all the guy did and he went like 700 trades in a row without losing, because all he did was as soon as it got into a little bit of profit, he would close it, regardless of whether he was leaving money on the table or not. That's not relevant. He would just take little wins, little wins, little wins, little wins. And if you stack those little wins up all day and you get to your 1% or maybe 1.5% over the course of the day, then you just do the same thing again tomorrow. And each day you set your target of what 1% would be. And you come in, you do some trades until you get to a point where you've now hit your 1% and then you're done for the day. Now, the way Brent did it, he just did one trade. Well, he's a pro, he knows what he's looking at. He's reading the news. He's going for when the market opens. And, you know, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So maybe one day I'll think different and maybe I'll want to just do 1 or 2 trades over the course of the day. But in order to pass through the contest, we're going to need to really do a lot of risk management. And if you look at the one trade that we just took that we lost on, the tap to trade from Javid, right? That tap to trade cost me $550. Well, on a 100,000 account, that would have been, half of my day's profit, right? So I don't know that I would have want to risk that much. Like, I feel like I can get the job done, get it done without going too much into the drawdown. And I can just take these little bunts, little wins, bunt, 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 bunt. But if the market goes away from my strategy and I lose a little bit, right? So I can kind of recover back from it. And then you just want to be careful that you're not chasing it. But I'm going to tell you, the scanner has been the money shot for me. Like I came in for tap to trade. I've done trade alerts. I've been on live sessions. And again, I've stayed away from really ever wanting to learn how to manually enter the stuff in. But then based off of the recommendations I got, I'm like, you know what? Let me just try it. It's a demo account. What's the worst that can happen? And then once I learned how to do it, and then I started practicing, and then I said, okay, somebody taught me that ladder technique. So I implemented that. And then somebody else taught me the 1% trick, take the little bunts. And so I kind of implemented these 3 strategies in. And like I said, I'm up right now 20, I just lost a couple $100 on that tap, but I'm up 22.5% since Wednesday using these strategies and these tools. And everybody has this tool. So the reason why I'm so big right now on this pulse scanner is because I think the biggest the biggest fear that most people have is that I won't have how am I going to do this? How would I manage my time? And I just want to sit down for an hour or two and focus on this every day. Like, I can't spend all day every day doing this. Well, if you can only spend an hour or two, you can't really predetermine when they're going to want to do their trades. So I feel like I can kind of come in almost at any point and make trades, because if you learn crypto, which I know crypto well, then I can come in here and I can be looking at crypto. Like, that's what I traded all weekend, was I traded crypto. So I'm kind of looking at gold because I like gold. And gold, he said he trades US 30 and NASDAQ 100. Well, I've never really done NASDAQ 100. I know the US 30. So you find your currency. I like gold and I like crypto. Those are the two areas that I like. Crypto has a lot of volatility. So we're looking for gold also. You're looking for volatility because I'm not in the long haul for these trades. And that's the other thing that also, if you've ever heard me talk about politics and what I feel is happening right now around the world, especially because we're in a election year, the markets right now are very overinflated. And so a lot of expert traders that I follow all feel that a crash is imminent, that there's going to be a crash across the board. Now, what's interesting is that's more like stock market. So like the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, those industries. They also feel gold and silver is being suppressed by the global powers. So that could see an increase, because if you're taking money out of the stock market, like think about the big players, like the Warren Buffetts and I don't know. There's other investors that are, names, I don't follow that world, but the big whales, if they're taking their money out of the stock market, that makes an impact on everybody because everybody follows what the whales do. Well, if you see the owner of Walmart or Bill Gates or, these big players, BlackRock or whatever, and they're taking big chunks out of the stock market, where are they putting that money? And if you understand what's happening in crypto, you'll understand that there's something called the Bitcoin halving, which is happening in the next month and a half, where it's almost imminent that Bitcoin is going to go up. Now, it might come down before it goes up, but it's almost imminent that it's going to go up because there's going to be more scarcity with Bitcoin. A lot of these other coins follow what Bitcoin does. So there's going to be growth in crypto, especially now that ETFs are approved. So now you're going to see this whale money coming out, I believe, of the stock market going into crypto and gold. So I like crypto and gold, and probably will stay away from some of the stock stuff. You don't need to understand all the binaries and indices and all that different things. All you really got to do is kind of focus in on one or two currency pairs and then just master them so that you start to get a feel or a pulse of what is kind of happening. And the more you focus your brain on a specific pair or a few different pairs, you're going to be able to start to feel a little bit more of what's actually happening. Now, in saying that, I will tell you that I am not a good trader. If I don't have a tool like the scanner and I am left to guess, I can tell you most cases I will guess incorrectly. It's almost uncanny how bad I am at guessing whether I think gold is going to come up or down or crypto is going to go up or down. It's like you could almost set your watch by me picking incorrectly. Yet by using the pulse scanner and by listening to what these traders are doing and seeing what they're doing, I am now at about a 78% positive rate for my trading. if you really understand what I'm saying, you would know how big of a deal that is, because it is impossible to guess 8 out of 10 times and be right. You can guess maybe, if you're lucky, 5 out of 10 times. Like flip a quarter, right? How many times are you going to pick the right heads or tails? That's just guessing, right? Like the market goes up or the market goes down. If you're guessing, maybe if you're lucky, you might guess half. You're not going to guess usually 8 out of 10. Maybe you get lucky and do it once out of every 10, but I would say you're never going to just do it consistently, be able to get 8 out of 10 guesses right. I am not good at guessing the market. What I am okay at is I'm okay at, trading for dummies. And I call the scanner trading for dummies. Like I can tell if there's a green arrow on 3 of these different, see, these are all different trading strategies, right? They're indicators. So if there's a green arrow on all 3 of these, right, and there's actually 5, I think, that they use. So sometimes it'll be 2 and then 1 or 2 that you don't see. I don't know the other ones that they're using. But if I see a green arrow and then here it says buy 3 points or buy 4 points or buy 5 points, basically it's saying that there's multiple trading indicators all saying that the market's about ready to go up. Or if I see sell 3 points, sell 4 points, sell 5 points, it's saying that there's a lot of indication that the market might come down. But again, will it come right down? Maybe not. Will it go right up? Maybe not. So you got to kind of know a little bit more, because when I first started using these indicators, I would come in and I would just say, all right, I'm just taking this one trade. Let's see what happens. And then if it hit stop loss, I lost. If it hit the profit, I'd win. And then I got to a point where I'm like, well, wait, I can close this out on my own. I don't have to just wait for what is going to happen. If I see a little bit of profit, why don't I close it out on my own? And then I started to see, well, if I see a good sell signal and yet I'm in the loss, if I come in and double down, now I can make my profit and get out of the other trade. And again, that's what I'm going to teach on this week, is that ladder technique and how to work your way out of trouble. But also by working your way out of trouble, I've increased my positive close rate. And now I'm seeing much better success because, again, I'm just using the scanner and this one technique. I am far from a pro. I will promise you, if I was just left to my own devices, I would drive us into a cliff when it comes to trading. But by using the scanner, I'm actually able to navigate my way through. And again, the traders as well. So I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying if you can learn to feed yourself, then you really don't have to depend on anybody else. Because right now, I could take money, put it into a brokerage account under my own name, hook up MetaTrader 5 to the brokerage account. Let's say it was Akashx Securities if I wanted to. And I could be trading using these techniques. But I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it using a demo account first, either to do the contest or if I'm going to use my own money. So that way I'm practicing with fake money. So that way if I make some mistakes, I'm doing it on a free demo account. So that way nobody's getting hurt. All right, let's see here. I think.
Glenn.
Yeah.
Can you explain the red, black, green numbers that are on side pulse? We talked about that over the weekend. That